I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of AfterBuzz TV's After Show for Dragnificent. I am your host, Cody Epperson, and I am not alone. I am joined by three equally fabulous hosts. First of all, we have Bryant Santos.
Hello. So excited to talk about this episode with you guys. I just know I'm going to cry, so I'm ready.
We have Jeroslyn Jovonn.
Hi, guys. I'm going to cry too.
And we have Adiamond Baker.
Hey, everyone. I guess I'll cry as well.
Yeah.
Right? I'll turn the waterworks on to you guys. It'll just be a nice big communal cry. It sounds good. So we are talking about episode 5 today, Pretty in Pink. Let's go back around in a circle and get everybody's overall thoughts on this episode. Brian, tell me everything you think.
Yes.
Or your overall thoughts, not everything. We'll get there.
Yes. Absolutely loved it. I can't love this show anymore. We were talking about this off air, me and Jeroslyn, that this show just keeps getting better and better. You know, every episode I'm like, oh, this is my favorite, but it just keeps getting better. I love how we called it last week. We're like, we want to see a different kind of like event or something. So this was obviously that. It was so interesting to see them help her get prepared because this is such a big life event, you know, for her, for him. People might say, oh, it's not a wedding or it's not a high school reunion, but it's just as big, just as important to both of them. And I loved how they sold that and they portrayed that message. So such a great episode and I love it. And I can't wait to talk about the pink shoes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The pink shoes got me. When we watching Adam perform, this episode, of course, it got better and better. I thought last week's episode was my favorite. This week's episode is by far my favorite. Next week's episode might be my favorite again. The pink shoes got me, but the fact that Adam was able to get veteran advice on his first drag show from the vets, like from RuPaul's Drag Race, from Dragnificent, it's like, he's set up for stardom. So this episode was just fabulous.
Yeah, I agree. To all those things, I feel like it was amazing to see, you know, the real life struggle that family members go through when somebody is trying to express themselves in a way that they're not comfortable with or used to. And so we got a really good, loving, supportive look at how that can be. And I love that it was a mother. It was perfect timing because Mother's Day just passed. So I really liked how everything went full circle, not only with us in this country and how we celebrate Mother's Day, but with them, with both of them. So it was great.
Yeah, this episode is nice and heartfelt. Like you said, Diamond, it is perfect timing. And yeah, let's dive in. So we have they're in Connecticut. We have Laura, a mother whose son wants to do drag, and she's very reserved. She's not a very loud person. And then she has her son, who I believe was 19 years old, who wants to do drag, is very colorful, likes to wear heels and makeup, which for some people is not the norm. And I just thought it was just so nice to see that she wanted, even though she didn't fully understand him, she wanted to understand. And that is a big step, even though I feel like I can be a little jaded. I'm like, what do you mean you don't get it? Like, just get it. Just get on board. You're on the, right? Like, get on the bus. You're going to miss it. Yeah. But just the fact that she's willing to just try and educate herself is really, really great. So, right. It was so cute. And then, so let's talk about, I felt so bad for Laura at first, because they were like, I know they're joking around, but like
the couch,
they're so catty. And like, I know like us, like we all got thick skin, but it's like, what do you guys think? I just felt so bad at first for her, even though she was a good sport.
No, yeah, I felt a little bad for her too, because I don't think she was used to that level of like fun catty shade. But at the same time, it was good for her to get a taste of it, because her son is a new drag queen and she could only imagine the type of friends he's going to be inviting over. And if she's going to be a full supportive drag mother, then get into it, honey, because this is what it is. It's straight up no chaser. So I really enjoyed that scene. It was so hilarious.
Yeah, same. It was so, so good. And I actually didn't even think about that until you said it, Cody, the fact that the mom was like, because I thought she was also loving it, but at the same token, if you're like, like she said, she's so new to this world, she doesn't know anything about it. If you're so new to this, you'd probably be like, geez, like I just bought this couch. Like I'm like, she probably was so taken back, but I loved how, of course, throughout the episode, she got to know them more, and she just kept saying, like, she couldn't scream it louder that she loved them so much, and she was so grateful to them for helping her understand something that she was so new to. So I love that.
Yeah, and she also mentioned, that in that moment that they're confident and that's something to learn from. And I think drag queens are just so great at being funny and reading people, and they do it so well that it's not mean-spirited. It's like hilarious. There's truth to it, and it's meant to be funny, and they actually do a really good job at translating that. And I think, and she, you could see her laughing, but I too was like worried that she may not understand that it's a joke, or, like, because the culture is so, just like snippy and sassy and, all these things. And you're absolutely right. That is the world her son is in. And she's got to get a taste of it. She's got to figure, and they gave it to her. They gave her a little taste.
It needed to, because you know what? I feel like from what she was wearing and that couch, and then when we look at the picture of what Adam was attempting to go on, it all looked consecutive. So we have to introduce new colors, new vibrancy to that household so that it can rub off on Adam and he can take that to the stage. Yeah. We don't need those neutral covers. Okay.
Exactly. And speaking of Adam, he's very sweet, this cute little thing. He's so tiny and has so much hair. I'm very jealous of how much hair he has on top of his head.
He did this and I was like, God, he's got great hair.
Like so I was cool. I would murder someone for that hair. But it was so funny because it seemed like he had, regardless of his mother's attempting to be understanding, they seem to have at least somewhat of a good relationship. And it was so funny when they asked him, like, oh, model some of the clothes. It took me, like, we kept seeing pictures of him in his drag and stuff like that, and I was like, what am I missing here? Like, his makeup is so like on fire is so fire and fierce. I'm just like, what's going on with these outfits? Is like, was he wearing his mom's clothes, or like they made a point to point out out that her wardrobe was not the most exciting.
Right. He might have been wearing his mom's clothes. I'll keep into account they live in Connecticut, so they might not be taking that train ride to NYC to get influenced by the fashion. But honey, that's why I'm so happy that he had 3 veterans get him together on his first show, or else he would have started on the wrong path fashion-wise. I don't know where he was going with that 1962.
Well, and I think another great thing about parents and children is that the parents or the children usually try to be completely different than who their parents are. I know that I certainly do it. My mom is colorful. She loves to wear all these different, like, flowers and this and that. And if I didn't have to be on the show, I would not be wearing pink, like I am just I'm completely different. So I resonated so much with their relationship and the dichotomy of the way they want to present themselves. But the mother definitely got stuck in a rut, and not only like with her hair and her clothes, but just not being able to see or understand what her son was going through. So it was almost a crash course. Like when they had her put on that like sequenced shirt, and she's like, oh, I would, or the dress was what she's like, I would never wear that. Like she couldn't conceptualize or even consider ever wearing something like that. And it was beautiful how they put it after her makeover, and the makeover was post drag queen, but just like in that subtle, beautiful older woman, like confident looking person. And they paired it with that sequenced outfit or that dress or whatever. And I thought it was so great for her to really see that there is a middle ground and you can meet halfway. And, it's all about compromise, and it's about expanding and compromise. And that was a good, I guess, not like theme, but like indicator or crystallizing image of that for me, was that sequence dress with her nice makeup.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
loved it.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Bryant.
What I was just gonna say was what I do wish about this whole sequence was I wish that Adam was more involved throughout the entire episode with his mom's transformation. That's the only thing I would say is because like that moment we did have with them when she did the makeover, it was lovely. But I feel like they would have really like understood each other more, or he would have even got more sense of himself if he would have went on that shopping trip with her, or if he was part of painting her face, you know. But the fact that they kind of kept them separate throughout the episode and then kind of brought them back together, it worked. But I feel like it would have been even more impactful if they were along for the ride together.
I agree. Because it's like, that's his mom, and they're both kind of going into this transformation together. And it's a different but journey they're each going on, but it's similar. They're both going into a transformation. And I really hope that the makeover they did with her in the salon, it really sticks with her. Because to me, you know, it wasn't much. It was a good beat. It was like a nice beat. Her hair was just washed in a good cut that she can go if she goes to the salon. So I hope it really stuck with her. Because it was a transformation from when we first saw her at the beginning of the episode to when she got that salon experience. I hope she starts to implement that, because it really brightened her up and just brings out her natural beauty.
Yeah, and to, you know, and just, I mean, I kind of understood or I liked the way that they, you know, kind of kept it separate so that she could learn from the queens at the top of their game, you know, how her son can be, like the confidence that he can rise to, and the success and the knowledge of hair and makeup and expression, and the fact that she was able to do that, connect with and go shopping with and directly with the queens. I think that helps her kind of almost better understand it, because they have such notoriety and success at that stage. So I thought it was, I like the way they did it. I don't know if it was intentional, but I think it's good in that regard if she does connect with them in that way, that to be able to, you know, just see her son in 20 years or 15 or 10 or whatever, however old they are, no, but you know, just to see like even, was it Georgie in the beginning? She said, no, it was Bebe who said he could be the one that brings the millions into the family, you know? So like, just, you know, so that is just, I feel like it was a good like leap to see and to interact with, other than her son and her doing it.
Yeah, it was good seeing both sides of it. I do think that to honestly, like, I do love this show. I felt that this episode was a little choppy. I kind of didn't but just maybe like editing wise, I don't know, something about it, like I didn't like this. I loved the story and what we learned and like the journey we went on, but there's something about it seemed very to me. But it was nice that the way they did her over was, it was very subtle. Even when they just pulled her hair back, she's very like naturally beautiful woman. And it's just so funny because I mean she's a professor, so that's why her wardrobe is like that. It's like, I mean, I'm not a professor, but I was a substitute teacher for a minute at a prep school, and it's like there's certain things that you can wear and there's certain things you can't wear. And so I can see how she kind of got stuck in this, I guess, rut of what she had. But but I would have, again, I was going back and forth. I'm like, so this is about the mother accepting the son, because I wanted to see them help the son more. And like kind of like you said, Jocelyn, I was really glad that they came in at the end before the show and were like, hey, we brought you some stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I think they even brought him shoes too, because every time we saw him, like in photos or when he was wearing socks, or he wasn't wearing like heels. So I think he was, and you can tell me otherwise, during the show, I don't think he could really walk in those boots. I think that was one of his first times in heels.
Yeah.
When he was on stage, he was a little clumpy with it, but yeah, and a lot of hands to like,
take
like, away
don't
from
look
like
at my feet.
Yeah. He was adorable, and he had a banging body too. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of
their space too.
Yeah.
He's a very pretty little thing.
Right. Yeah. Cody said that like he's so small, and then they were like, this is from our closet. I was like, Bebe, don't lie, girl. That's not from your closet. He's not gonna fit anything in your closet, honey.
You brought that
okay, you wish.
One thing I did want to touch on was, So I mean, I guess we'll say it. I'll say it again. Is that it was all about his mother learning to accept who he is and what he wants to do, and that's wonderful. But I loved the moment where she goes over to Alexis's apartment and meets Alexis's mother, and they had a very sweet conversation there. And so I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about that one. Adiamond.
Well, I thought it was a great addition to the show. I got to understand more about her mother and their relationship, and I just thought it was so powerful. And even the mother thought it was so powerful that she was able to connect with another mother who has a son that likes to dress and drag, and for them to be able to talk about for the mothers to be able to talk about their experiences. And again, just being able for Alex's mother to be on the other side of it, of like, my son, I accepted it, I love him, I understand it now, he is successful, he obviously, like, from the other side of the spectrum, just being able to be like, you're good, you got it, just keep supporting him, do it, that's what we're here for, kind of thing. It was a huge, you can see something opened up in her. She got blushy and she was just like, this is better than getting diamonds. Like, to be able to open up like people from the inside, so that they're no longer blocked, like energetically opening them through the words or through however you're expressing something to someone is so powerful. So I thought it was amazing and powerful, and definitely needed to open his mother up to his life.
Yeah. Another thing I love about this episode too, you kind of touched on it, was the fact that we learned more about the queen. So there was also those 2 vignettes of both Bebe and Juju of like how they were when they were kids. And what I would say to you, I think it's perfectly fitting for Mother's Day, but what this would have been perfect for was the first episode as well, for us to really learn a lot about the queen, because I feel like we got so much information about them and so much more about, like, not a character, because they're not a character, they're a real person, but just their background and their story. And I loved it. And like, definitely that scene with the mothers, both the mothers, and like, the biggest thing I would say, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. The biggest thing I would say is like the fact that she was so self-aware. Like, she was like, there was times where I had to pick and choose. Like, I would buy him the pink Power Ranger, but not the pink slippers. And I felt like I was inadvertently hurting him, and I was like, wow, that's so sorry. Oh my God. Wow, that's so powerful that she's just so self-aware, and she knows that these small things can be affecting her son. And that's why she's going on this journey to really, really understand where he's coming from and how she can better to support him, because she didn't know her whole life. She thought she was doing her very best at supporting him, but now she's trying to do as much as she possibly can to give him the best life and support him. So I loved it. And oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry, sorry.
No, I like that you're expressing an emotion, because it's a reminder that this is real life, and this is what people trying to express themselves to their parents and their families have to go through every single day. And some people aren't able to really come fully to terms with themselves or even with their family up until a much later age.
Yeah.
So the fact that we heard stories of her even buying him a pink Power Ranger as a child, it shows that she has been trying. And now that he's 19 and he's like, look, I want to be a drag queen, she's like, all right, I got to really get fully on board. I can only imagine some of the experiences they probably had in the past where she.
We may have
lost it.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
You're back.
Sorry.
We got you.
I'm back.
Yes, you're
Sorry.
back.
I was like, what happened? My Wi-Fi went out. It didn't. So to just see her, fully go full throttle in supporting her son at the age of 19, I know he is going to be a fierce drag queen because he has the support of his family behind him now.
Yeah, it's really sweet, and it's so Brian. I don't want to say I'm glad you feel something, but it's such a touching thing, because it's like, I know I can look back on my childhood and like it would be like McDonald's between the Hot Wheels or the Barbie, and I'd always wanted the Barbie. Yeah. But then there were I would always get the Barbie. But then there were other times, like my grandma took me to pick out a Christmas ornament, and I guess this is kind of funny for a 9-year-old, but I wanted the I Love Lucy one eating bonbons, and she wouldn't get me the I Love Lucy Christmas ornament. And so it's just weird little things like that where it's like, I guess, your elders or people, your parents or grandparents or whoever, they have to, they don't have to, but sometimes they feel that they have to pick and choose what is appropriate or what they deem as appropriate at the time.
Yes, and exactly to that, I think it shows how powerful society's input is on anyone, and the optics of what a gay son would look like, or a son who wants to dress up in heels, or instead play with like a pink toy instead of a blue toy. And if anything, it's like the parents, or specifically a mother in this case, doesn't want to protect her child. She doesn't want her son to be made fun of or to be attacked, or and so there's this element of needing to protect them, but also wanting to support them. And you're right, she is so self-aware, and she was able to even verbalize these moments that she had to pick and choose. And I think it's just really sad, because some things you just can't protect your kids from, and you almost can do more harm when you're trying to protect them than you would if you weren't trying to do that and stop them from being and expressing and allowing them to be who they are. So it's very tricky.
Oh yeah. And then another thing we have to talk about is these pink shoes. They brought up these pink shoes so many times throughout the episode. By like the third or fourth time we heard it, I was like, oh my God, these damn shoes. But literally they got me, because right when I was like, are you kidding me again? She hands him the box of pink with the pink pumps in it. And that's when I was like, okay, I get it. It's fine. So you guys talk to me about these pink shoes, Jeroslyn.
No, I mean, like they built it up, because I was wondering too. I wasn't like wondering. I saw she explained the story first, and then he explained the story. And when I heard him explain the story, I was like, wow, this must be really a thing. The fact that he knew to bring this up, this had to be like a statement, like experience they went through in the past. Yeah. But then when you see the pink shoes come out at the end, it's gonna make you tear up if you're someone with a heart, because it's like, hello, you got to put yourself in these shoes here. I think there's a lot of parents out here that just are like praying that their child doesn't come out gay, and you're seeing a mother who's in the situation and how she's come to terms with it, and this is like that was the gesture right there to show like, look, I'm fully supporting you in whatever you want to do, whoever you want to be, and making up for the mistake that I made that really probably stuck with him, because we all have these traumas from our childhood that we can remember. Like you remember that thing with your grandmother. So the fact that she was able to reverse it, now when he'll think back on these pink shoes, he has a whole different memory now. That what she did to justify what happened in the past, it totally trumps whatever happened in the past. And I think that was just a really special moment. That and I know the closed-minded people aren't watching this show anyway, but I really, really hope that there's some kind of way, I'm praying it, I'm claiming it, that there's some kind of way that they could even just see that clip. Because you can't protect your child from being gay. Like this is who they are. This is how they feel. And whatever biases or whatever thoughts you think in your head of what is it that causes them to be wrong, to be gay? It's like, whatever reason you think of why they're like, oh, well, it's a mental health issue, or, oh, something happened as a child. Okay, well, then you focus on that and what your mental health issues that might have been instilled within the child, if you think that's what the issue is, instead of just generalizing a whole community. But I think when they see things like this show, which I know they're not watching it, but I really hope they see some clip of it, it combats those thoughts. It really does. Because when you hear her saying she knew her son was gay when he was 2 years old, how can you sit there and say, oh, it's because of this? The boy is 2. The child is who the child is. If anything, they're now expressing who they already were formed in your womb, So I could go on and on about that, because it really pisses me off. If I could go to every parent around the world who criticizes their child for being gay and curse them out, if I could get paid to do it, I would curse parents are. Like, leave them the hell alone, because there's something more deep within you that you need to confront before sitting there trying to point your finger at your child for being true to themselves and not being afraid to be true to themselves. I wonder what you're too afraid to be true about. But that's how I feel about the pink shoes.
Yes, girl, go off. No, obviously I did love it too. And I didn't even catch how many times it was brought up until you guys mentioned it. Because I do know that she said it and it already like clicked with me. And then when it just came full circle in the end and she was just like, I got you these. And like you said, Jeroslyn, like she did it so she can erase what happened in the past. And I have these things. My mother and I have like the most amazing relationship ever. She's so supportive, but there's still these moments where I'm like, wow, that happened, and there's times where I wish that that it didn't. So it's definitely the perfect example of like how she really went all in on this whole journey. And she was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to be as supportive as I can, to make sure he knows that I'm here for him and I want to support him and I want to love him to the best of my ability. So I just loved it. And yeah, it was literally like in balls of tears. So.
Diamond?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Everybody is so worried about what everybody else thinks. They don't know how to think for themselves, and they don't know how to think inward or to understand or be aware of their own issues. And I think that we're always going to deal with that. And, I think that just to the point of, I wish that people who don't normally watch these type of shows would watch these shows. I think the beauty in it is that they are really traveling and connecting with people who wouldn't watch this show, like this mother or the cop that we saw in the last one, or whomever they're working with. And I think the change is going to happen through them, and they're going to be able to spread their experience to their friends and change the minds of the people that they know. So I hope there'd be some backdoor waking up through the people that they're actually working with on this show who normally wouldn't be watching this show. But yeah, change takes time, and I know that change is harder for people to make when it's in your face and it's being forced on you, and it's not an organic transition. So I don't, I wouldn't want to force this show on anyone, but I do hope that the backdoor effect is happening with the people that they are on this, they are working with and helping and dressing in drag, because it's beyond gay, straight, drag, trans. It's about acceptance of who people just are. Like, my mom has always been, I'll save it, but I was pretty much able to do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And even still, in moments, I was still told by like my aunt or my grandma or someone else that I wasn't worthy or enough, just because of their anger towards themselves. And so it's just really about acceptance of ourselves and other people in their element, and not being afraid of the optics. And this show is just a microcosm of that change needing to happen, and I just freaking love it so much.
Right? It always leaves us feeling nice and warm and fuzzy at the end.
Yeah,
Totally see you, babe.
No, he did it quick though. Because the other thing too is, because you're gonna have that thought, right? Like, if I have a son or a daughter or whatever, let me tell you something. If my son is gay, I'm gonna embrace it from the beginning, because I need my son to be a bad bitch. If you're gonna do it, you better go all the way, honey. Don't be out here looking frazzle dazzle. You better be fabulous and you better be fierce. So they have to own it. And that means that they have to know that they have that love and that confidence the same way you have that love and that confidence in yourself. So
he just wants to be like a quiet gay son, and she's like, be loud and
proud. That's gonna be me.
I love that.
Oh my goodness. But speaking of mothers and being a mother and having mothers, Adiamond, let's swing over to your special segment today.
Yes, let's do that special segment.
I'm always so excited for your special segment.
All right. So this special segment is in honor of our mothers, as Mother's Day just passed, and because we focused on a mother in this episode. So I just really want to go around and ask each of you what you love and appreciate about your mother. Let's start with Bryant.
So mine is, it's so crazy that it's really like a parallel to this show because it's just how accepting and supportive she is. Like the biggest thing I would say, just like a moment, would be my coming out moment when she took so much weight off my shoulders because she's the one who asked me if I was gay, and it was just something that I battled with so much, and she just made it so nonchalant, and she was just like, are you gay? It's totally fine, and it was just such a special moment, and that's just what I'm so grateful to her for, and what I just love most about her is how supportive she is, and of who I am in my personal life, who I am in my career, what I want to do with, everything. I call her and tell her about the guys I hooked up with. So obviously, like, she's like so open, and she's so supportive and so fun. And she's just amazing. And the thing I most love about her is just how open she is to everything, how supportive she is of my life. And I don't like to say who the life I choose to live, because it's not the life I choose to live. It's who I am and how supportive she is of who I am. So
shout out to your mom.
Yeah.
Mom claps. All right, Cody, go ahead.
So this is an interesting topic for me. So my mom actually passed away when I was younger. So I'm going to be quick, and I'm going to talk about, I have 3 mommies. So my first mom who passed away, she is similarly to Brian, actually. What I remember most about her, I've never felt like I was not correct. I never felt unaccepted. I didn't come out with her. I came out after she was gone, but I remember there was one day we were sitting at our dining room table, and she just like, "Oh, are there any girls at your school you like?" I was like, "No," and I was just a grumpy teenager, and she's like, "Oh, are there any boys you like?" And I got so offended. I was like, "Oh my God, Mom!" But like, even though that wasn't necessarily a nice moment, it's like I can look back on it and I know that my mom was very open and very accepting and very loving. And but then after she passed away, my sister became my guardian, and my sister, so she was basically my new mom and sister, which was a very tricky situation as a teenager. But she was always very understanding and supportive and loving as well. And she is a real mommy now with her daughter, my niece. So she's amazing. And then after college, I moved back to LA. From LA, moved to San Francisco for college, came back. I consider her my like new mother. She her name is Candace, and her and her family, I moved in with them when I moved back from college because I didn't really have my own like room to move back into. So I have this woman named Candace who her and her husband and their daughter like accepted me into their house, and I stayed with them for a few months, and then I moved out for a few months, and that didn't go well. I had some roommate problems, and then I literally moved. They were like, "You need to move back in here. Like, this isn't good for you." So I have this other new mom who loves me and takes care of me, and literally considers me her own. So though I'm not the most lucky, I am also very lucky, and have had a lot of very loving, supportive women in my life.
That's beautiful.
Got me over here. I'm like, Jeroslyn, stop crying. We're not even talking about the pink shoes, and I'm over here. That's just so sweet and heartfelt, because it's just the story you told about your mom, like, and the fact that you were able to have that moment before, she passed, and you were too young at the time. We're all teenagers. We're all case. Oh my gosh, when we're teenagers, we're just so mature. We don't really know how to handle our emotions. So the fact that as an adult, you can look back on that moment and know that it was your mom's way of saying, like, I accept you for who you are. Things like that just really touch my heart. But my mom, that's honestly, it's the same. Like, my mom is so effing fun. I had the mom that all of my friends were jealous, and they would come to my mom to tell her everything, because my mom, some of my friends would call her the mom from Mean Girls. Cause like when my friends, once I started college, which again, I'm still only like 18, 19, my friends would come over. My mom would come in with like a tray of shots and be like, "Shot time." So they always called her the mom from Mean Girls, like doing the performances with me and stuff. But she has always been my number one fan, my number one supporter. She's so fun. I can literally tell my mom anything. So when people get so like concerned about how I'm very outspoken, like I'm very vulgar. I'll talk about sex. I'll talk about anything because I wasn't raised in an environment where I didn't feel like I couldn't talk about those things. So that hats off to my mom because she wasn't raised that way. So she always, growing up like in the 60s, like she, back in the day, you couldn't say nothing. So she hated it. So she always said that, and my mom has 6 kids. So she always said that I'm never going to make my children feel like they can't speak their mind because I hated that feeling growing up. So even me and all my siblings, like we talk about everything. It makes other people feel uncomfortable and it's hilarious because we don't care. So that's my mom right there. She's just super accepting of all her children. And just to hear that you have moms like that too, it just makes me happy. And Cody, to hear that you have 3 moms, that's just so beautiful because moms are they're just so important. They're so special. You have a mother, even if you weren't raised by your birth mother or something, like there's a mom for everyone. And I just like hearing mom stories.
Yeah, I think it's quite ironic that we all kind of have the same type of supporting, allowing mothers. That's definitely the case for me. Like my mother was, she was abused and she had, she's half Black and half like Mexican, and so she dealt with not being Black enough and not being white enough and not really fitting in. And then, and then her mother was very strict and she was sexually abused as a kid. And so she has a lot of things that she's had to work through in order for me to be able to experience the love and the beauty that she wished she got. And so for that, I can't thank her enough. Like I know that I was also raised by my grandmother and my aunt, and they're 2 crazy ass ladies, okay, like just out of their mind. And so she was my saving grace because when she had to work, I had to be with them. And though I love them and there were always good times, it was chaotic and very dysfunctional and really built up a lot of chaos and dysfunction in me. And she was my saving light in that regard because of all the things she went through, that she had to go through in order for me to be at peace or to have peace. And and I think that's my biggest thing, is just the reason why what I appreciate and what I'm blessed with from her is light and love, and knowing that that I am capable, or that I am a beautiful soul. And so I think that I would not feel that way, and I wouldn't be where I am now if she wasn't a part of it, or if she didn't go through what she went through and learn to get away from it, or to know that she is better than the darkness and the chaos that surrounded her. So for that, it's powerful, and I love her to death for it. So yeah, just gonna fucking cry.
Oh my God, I'm like, you see me over here. I'm like, okay, I am tired of crying for like nothing. Like we're talking about great things here, and it's just making me emotional. But love is just a beautiful thing. It's such a good thing, and I'm so happy that we all have loving mothers, because it's really important.
Yay, moms!
Yay, mom!
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe it's because, because of the quarantine, since we weren't even able to be with our moms and stuff like this year, it's like you're just feeling super emotional. Like everyone's stir crazy. I'm ready to get the F out the house. So,
girl, we ain't going nowhere. 3 more months.
Nowhere to go. I know. Because I was like, even if things open up, I'm like, okay, the beach is still closed. The restaurants are closed. There's nothing to do.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But thank you, Adiamond. That was a beautiful, beautiful segment.
As always.
And I feel like I got a little piece of you guys' hearts. So I love it.
Same.
Yes.
And really just to throw back really quick. Though I did tell that story about my grandma in the Christmas ornament. My grandma loves me. She supports me. Yeah. I think she had the same sort of situation as Laura in this episode. Yeah. She kind of like had like figured it out later on. She's like, okay, I have to be there for him. Every time she writes me a card, she puts XOXO, love you forever, no matter what. And I'm like, thanks, Grandma.
Because they came from ornament. Right. They came from a different time, so it's like you know you can't even. It's like completely different mindsets. But I'm happy that your grandma came around.
Yeah, I just wanted to like clear the air there. That,
right. You're like, no, she's my grandma. Okay. I love my grandma, y'all.
But yes, that was beautiful. Jeroslyn, please take over and let's get some news and gossip.
Yes, news and gossip time. It's news and gossip time. Okay. So this week, actually, our spotlight is on Bebe, Juju. Juju B.
You
know, I get their two names mixed up. I was like, please let it be Alexis, because or Thor G, because their names have nothing to do. But yes, Juju is on the new season of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, which is like awesome.
That's amazing.
Because first of all, it's like cross promotion for Dragnificent, which Dragnificent needs a second season, and it's one of the greatest shows on television. So the fact that Bebe's on there and giving that extra marketing to the show, but also for anyone who's a fan of Drag Race, you know that All Stars is the best because it brings back queens from previous seasons who hadn't won. So now they're out for vengeance. So the shade is real. The shade is real. The challenges are more intense. Like everything ups, like your drag, your fashion, like everything, your acting, like your makeup, everything has to be on 1,003,000. So I'm so excited. Then the fact that we're in a quarantine. So Drag Race is my favorite show because it's the one show like, well, this is the beauty of drag. Like drag just makes you forget everything. You only are thinking about joy and happiness and just love and vibrancy. So that's what Drag Race, the show, makes me feel. Like it just makes me feel those things. And more Drag Race. I can't get enough Drag Race. Like I'm always just like, should I just go back? If there's no Drag Race on, I'm like, should I just go back and watch last season or something? So I'm here for it. Like I'm loving the current season 12. I'm here for Drag Race All Stars and Bebe. We love Bebe, of course. Right, Juju.
Bebe.
We do love Bebe though too.
We love Bebe, but she's already a winner and she's been on All Stars. So it's Juju's turn to shine and we're here for it. So that's my news and gossip. There was also a tweet I did want to share from a beautiful woman who she, like us, she is a fan of Dragnificent. And she wrote in regards to the episode we're talking about, as an old church lady, I find so many life lessons about faith while watching Dragnificent. The acceptance, the inclusive community, spreading joy, and helping others sparkle into becoming their best selves. It's just so lovely and moving. And that just like, I was like, oh my God. That just melted my heart. And, you know, I might cry again. So let's just wrap this up because I'm tired of crying.
That is so nice to hear that it is helping people. I don't want to say change their mindset, but expand their minds and expand their views. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got bigger fish to fry out here. You better not be worried about somebody and their sexuality or their skin color or what makes them different from you. There's big ass fish out here. So get all those damn things, ignorant thoughts out of your head. You see, I'm already cursing out America right now. Like I said, I want to go curse out every person. Like, what is wrong with you?
All right, y'all. Before we head out, let's tell the people where they can find y'all. Brian.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at the Bryant Santos. Catch me on AfterBuzz TV's Quarantine with the Stars. Tomorrow I'm interviewing Ronan Rubinstein from 911 Lone Star. I'm sure you've seen him because he's very hot. And he, if you're a fan of this show, you're probably a fan of 911 Lone Star because of those obvious reasons. So yeah, check it out. 12 p.m.
Dang, all right. Adiamond.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NotYourType, NOT_YUR_TYPE. And you can also watch my after shows for Run, the HBO show on Run on Mondays. Of course, here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Mrs. America, with Cody. So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, that's where you can find me.
And I'm Ms. Jeroslyn.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Jeroslyn Diva, Jeroslyn Diva.
Yes, you can. And you can find me on Twitter as Cody_Ep and on Instagram as Cody Ep, CODYYEPP. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you, and we will be back next week to talk about episode 6. We cannot wait.
Yay,
Bye.
bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos,